Yep, that's me with the FIA safety car on the grid in Spa. This was day 3 with F2 and F3 at the Belgian Grand Prix. If you've been following along, you know that I was media this weekend with F2 and F3. And Saturday started bright and early because we had a pretty packed schedule. Both championships have the same schedule throughout a race weekend. First, there's a practice session, then we have qualifying, and then we have a sprint race and a feature race. First thing Saturday morning, we had the F3 sprint, and we started off with a grid walk. F3 is a pretty big championship compared to what you may be used to. There are 10 teams on the grid with 3 cars each, meaning that you're watching me walk through 30 cars right now. And the sprint grid is actually a reverse grid. The top 12 finishers from qualifying actually start in reverse, and the rest of the grid stays the same. This was my very first grid walk, so I wanted to get all the way to the back. And almost even cooler than that, I was right by Trident when they celebrated their win, and even got to watch the drivers come into Parc Fermé. These are obviously the type of moments that I love watching on TV, the pure celebration and victory that comes with it. And there was something so cool about not only being a part of the grid walk, but also the celebrations after, getting to watch everyone right up close. I had also just interviewed Ugo recently, and it was really cool to see him make it up onto the podium after such a good race. Next, I actually got to see some of the F2 drivers go and do their fan zone appearance, and it was really fun to watch the behind the scenes, knowing there was a crowd out there waiting to see them, seeing the guys goof around a little bit and then lock in and go do their appearance. All of the drivers who appeared did a great job, but 2 of them also spoke French for the home crowd, which was really fun. And afterwards, I watched them do a selfie masterclass. These guys were moving through the crowd very quickly and making sure everyone got their time. One fan even had a Photoshop scrapbook of like meme versions of each of the drivers and was having them sign it, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. Then while the F2 drivers were getting ready for their sprint race, I had a surprise. I was handed a VIP pass, which meant that I got to do a track tour, a pit lane tour, and a quick tour of the paddock. More on that in its own video later. Then it was time to head to the grid for the F2 sprint race. F2 has less cars on the grid than F3 does. There are 11 teams total with 2 drivers each, which means that there's 22 drivers on this grid. So it was easier to make it all the way to the end, and also Jack Doohan actually showed up to support. Leo Fornaroli actually won this race, which gave him back-to-back sprint wins after winning in Silverstone. And it was such a fun podium to watch celebrated across the board because you could feel the energy building for him. Afterwards, of course, we went and saw Leo get out of his car at Parc Fermé and watched all 3 drivers celebrate with their teams about this well-earned podium. Also, watching the podium up close like this has been one of the coolest experiences of my life, because there's something about watching that champagne spray and watching the joy on people's faces when they are hoisting trophies up into the air that I just feel so privileged to have gotten to see that up close. Part of the reason that I love sports so much is that feeling of victory and watching celebration of the impossible. And so being a part of it this weekend, I just feel so privileged and lucky. So come back tomorrow for the race day vlog, because this was a pretty big weekend for Leo in particular.